All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we are actually joined by a phenomenal member of a legendary rock band, the Dirty NIL. We got Luke right here live on the radio station airwaves and, of course, YouTube and Facebook as well. How are you doing this evening, Luke?
Honestly, I'm fantastic. It's great to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome. Like I was saying, I've been a huge fan of you guys. I've been a fan since the early days in 2008 when you guys actually dropped your self-titled EP back in those days.
No way! You've known about it since then? That's crazy.
I actually had a CD copy of that back in the day, and honestly, through so many moves, I lost it, and now I realize getting your hands on that is worth like $1,000, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm never gonna see that again.
Well, so where are you from?
I'm actually in Prescott, Ontario, but I grew up in Brockville. So I know you guys are from Hamilton, so I would say about 3.5 hour drive roughly.
Okay. And I have to know, how did you get your hands on this EP? Because we only made like 100 or 200 of them. And
one of my good friends when I was in school back in the day, he actually had he had a summer home out there. Well, his parents did, I should say, because I think he was like 15 at the time. And while he was out there, he went to one of your guys' shows and actually got his hands on one of the CDs. That's where I first heard it. And then I don't want my friend under the bus, but he was like, I don't really like the CD that much. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I'll take that CD. That CD's lit, man. And I know if he's watching, he's probably sitting there being like, you freaking asshole. No, but I'm just being honest. I can't lie to the man himself.
It's fair. It's fair to not like that album. But no, I thank you for humoring me. I had to know how you actually heard that. So
it was actually funny though, because when he actually said, do you just want it? And I'm like, yeah, man, like that CD's lit. I think it was like a 5 or 6 track EP. So I was like, yeah, man, I'll take that CD. Definitely.
Yeah, I think there's 5 songs on it. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was the first thing that we ever recorded. Yeah. That's fond memories of making that. Yeah.
And also, I got to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, man, because obviously, you're a member of a Juno award-winning group. You guys have been doing amazing things for so many years. But if you don't mind me asking, what actually got you into rock music originally and made you want to pursue a career within the music industry?
I think it was like, I was into bands and stuff when I was a kid. There was a lot of stuff happening. Like I remember really being into like Good Charlotte when I was like, Linkin Park when I was like kind of 12, and then Good Charlotte when I was like 12 and a half. And then when I was like just about to turn 13, I heard Nirvana, and then that was it for me, basically.
Yeah, I got to say, I definitely loved a Good Charlotte. I still do. I still definitely dabble back into those albums, man. But you can never go wrong with their debut album, the song Little Things. That beginning part.
Yeah, and it's funny because for a long time I was kind of ashamed of like certain things, certain music that I liked when I was a kid, and now I guess it's part of like kind of hitting this point in my life, but I don't care about how you stop caring about how people perceive what you like.
I definitely agree. But also, you guys actually formed the Dirty NIL back when you guys were in high school, back in 2006. I was wondering if you can actually tell our viewers a bit more about the story behind the formation of the Dirty NIL, and of course, what actually made you guys decide to come together to form this band back then in the high school days.
Well, yeah. So we started the band in 2006, and so Kyle and I were just 16 years old, and basically, it was at a point where like the School of Rock 2003, 2004, that big boom of classic rock had kind of subsided, and all the kids that bought Squier Strat packs and like beginner drums had kind of given it up. And Kyle and I were basically a couple of the last people standing. And out of the last people standing, we were the people that were like, do you want to actually make our own music though? Like not just play AC/DC covers, which is sick, by the way. But like I
definitely agree.
Let's make a band. Like let's make some music together that's our own. And he was the only person that like a lot of people think they want to do that until you actually get in a room and you have to do the tedious work of actually getting it together. But Kyle actually had the same mentality of me. We just gelled right away. I mean, we've been friends and enemies since we were about 5 years old, and I mean, Kyle and I have a unique relationship that I think most people in their life don't get to have a person in their life that they're as kind of close with as I am with Kyle.
And with those songs you're talking about that you wrote when you guys first formed the band, was that actually the songs from the self-titled EP that we spoke about a few moments ago?
Yes, they were. So basically, the way that everything started was when I think it was Christmas 2005. My family got a MacBook, like a Mac computer, and it came with GarageBand, and I started kind of working on just, with the headphones on and just kind of, putting together ideas. And so the first song on the EP is the first song that I ever wrote. And it was in GarageBand. And I said to Kyle, like, hey, do you want to try playing this song? I mean, like, don't do your thing, but here's how the song goes. And then basically we went from there. So, yeah, GarageBand was very integral to us starting a band.
And I gotta say, GarageBand was such a phenomenal tool for a lot of bands. I don't even know if that service is actually still around, but I remember actually being a young kid and actually wanting to try to make music, and I was on GarageBand. But once I heard a lot of the bands that were doing their thing, kind of like you guys, I was like, yeah, no, I can't upload what I just made.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's all about, I don't know, well, that's very. I'm glad you dig what our kind of our early GarageBand era. I must say that one of the positives of the pandemic was that it allowed me to reconnect with GarageBand, and I've been using it really regularly since then. I really like it, but I kind of lost touch with it for like 15 years or so almost. But no, I really think it's a great tool, and yeah, God bless the GarageBand. But nothing beats actually just like it's good to kind of when we were kind of stuck by ourselves, like it was a great tool for me to write songs and get ideas down and kind of keep working, keep moving, while we couldn't get together. And I'd make demos, I'd send them to Kyle, be like, what do you think of this song? And he'd be like, this song's cool, this one's not as good, but this one's really good. And we'd be like, cool, let's, like, whenever we can, we'll get together and then we'll smash away on it. And yeah, that's kind of how we got, that's how we worked through the pandemic.
And did you actually find it difficult as well to actually kind of send demos back and forth to one another during the pandemic? Because obviously you guys are very close to the band. You guys are always like together while you guys worked on music. But this time during the pandemic, when you were sending demos back and forth, was it a very difficult process for you to actually really get what you really wanted to actually sound correct when you guys weren't in the same room together?
I think that I have always had a healthy relationship when it comes to my own home demos, where I'm just like, I don't fall in love with them. So it's basically like I come up with an idea and then I don't listen to it again, or I try not to. Like, I know that listening to it will only drive me down the path of mental illness. So I get my idea down and I basically get it to whoever I need to get it to. And then I forget about it. And, but I mean, Kyle and I never listened to the rules. We just fucking got together and made music the whole time, to be honest with you. Unless it was like there were certain points where like it was a real, because we lived together for the first bit of it. And then when we got our separate places, like we bubbled up or whatever. So we kept seeing each other and like, because we were like, well, if the world, like, I don't care if the world ends, we got to make the next album. Like we can't just like, we got a couple of bangers sitting around. We got to make the next album. So better to have died and have done that than to have sat on our asses. So yeah, but I mean, demos aren't really. I try and have a healthy relationship with them. Sometimes I fail, I must admit. Sometimes you make a slamming little demo and you're like, but we have a word for it. It's called demoitis, and you can't fall victim to it. And for those who out there that don't know what this term means, demoitis is when you make kind of a basic recording of a song. You get your idea down. It's really rough, and you listen to it to the extent where you fall in love with its imperfections, and you fall in love with its peaks and valleys and its crags and ditches. And you try and impose that on the final product that you ultimately record in a proper studio or a better setup of some kind, along with a bunch of other songs. And it inhibits your ability to actually fully execute the new version. And it's a preventable disease. I have good news. Don't listen to your fucking demos is my advice.
Hey, you know what? That's probably the best advice. If you make it, just send it off, and just, if you have the temptation, delete the email that you sent. Just send it off and just delete anything after that.
Well, I believe they said in Scarface, don't get high on your own supply.
That's another great one. But also, as well, you guys actually earned yourselves a spot back in the day on the legendary Warped Tour. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that opportunity. And of course, what was it like just actually performing and being a part of Warped Tour history, man? Because honestly, it saddens me to just say that the Warped Tour is actually no more.
It's no more. It's no more. Before I get any further, can I swear or should I not swear?
Oh, we are completely uncensored, so definitely swear away.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because I've let a few F-bombs rip, and I just glad we communicated that. Okay, so the Warped Tour, it had been a dream of mine since I heard about it in my teens and into my early 20s. I'm like, we got to play the Warped Tour. That's the goal. And so by the time we got around to actually being asked to do it, I was 24. We were playing much more aggressively than we had been playing originally. And I just kind of saw it as like a benchmark thing. It's a brand. We got to do it. And then we got asked to do it. I was really excited to do it. They didn't tell us who else was playing it. When they announced who the other bands that were playing it were like, where's like the NoFX and the Bad Religion and like the, because to be honest with you, I didn't recognize almost any of the names that they announced. I know Silverstein because they're homies down the road. But like there weren't any of the kind of classic punk bands. So we're like, we'll see what happens. So we showed up and we played the thing. And we played to nobody all summer. It was we had a few shows where like we had a decent crowd. But that's kind of where we like cut and we had been on long tours before that, but I think that was the hardest one that I can remember doing, just because it was grueling. Because you don't play like in the proper city. Like if we're in Toronto here, you don't play in Toronto. You play at the Molson Park in Barrie, basically, of each city across America. So you don't actually see anything. You see a lot of fucking parking lots, basically. And then to add on to that, like your day is very grueling. Like you get up really early and you have to move your tent out to a field, and like then you can go eat breakfast, and then you got to sit at your merch table all day trying to sell anything to people that don't give a fuck. Like they're walking around wearing "suck my fuck" t-shirts, like children with braces, and like hauling on cotton candy e-cigs. Like, this is not our demographic. I wish it were, but it just ain't our demographic. And so basically, then we get up and play our show, which was a lottery every day. Like they announced it at like 10 a.m. what time you were playing. So then we'd get up, do our 25 minutes, and play to like whoever. But we were always on the Ernie Ball stage. And so that Ernie Ball stage, I like to call it the stage that God forgot. And they put it in the very corner, like... it was very hard to find the Ernie Ball stage. But anyways, that was the Warped Tour. It was a great time, though. But definitely very kind of like the first time that I honestly asked myself, is this what I want to do with my life? And I answered yes.
I got to say, though, man, not every tour is obviously going to be, roses and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it is the Warped Tour. So in a way, you are a part of like skate punk history. But I mean, by the sounds of it wasn't a very good Warped Tour, especially with the bands. So obviously, you guys were there, Silverstein, but if it wasn't a lot of the big, huge acts like they're known to be getting, it must have been one of those years that wasn't really the best. Unfortunately,
it was near the end. It was part of the death rattle of the Warped Tour for sure.
I do hope that one day they kind of bring like an anniversary back, like just one more Warped Tour bash, and bring back like the NoFX, the Blink, the Charlotte. You know what I mean?
I think it's a great idea of a festival that like, and I really do like, I think Kevin Lyman's an interesting character, and he was the one who like asked us, he is the Warped Tour in terms of the founder, and he is a really cool dude. But I think that like, I think that the move for the Warped Tour is to move more into the boutique market and not try and they were clearly fucking pandering, if I'm being just completely honest with you. They're trying to like what's hip right now instead of like offering a reliable like, well, we are gonna book Bad Religion and NoFX and like these bands that like basically gave this tour the cred that it fucking has. And now it's like, okay, well, we gotta play with, you know, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it wasn't those bands.
Especially those bands too, the ones that actually, you know, that weren't those bands. Obviously, they're going to say yes because I mean, and I don't care what band it is. If a band gets approached being like by the Warped Tour, being like, "Hey, you know, we want you on the Warped Tour," chances are they're going to be like, yeah."
100%, 100%. But you know, it was a great time where I learned a lot about, you know, rock and roll in general, just in terms of like it's a long way to the middle if you want to rock and roll. But also, you know, we met a lot of great people that we're still in contact with. We, you know, fortunately enough for us, this is what I should definitely add in terms of our experience of the Warped Tour was we became faculty favorites. So like other bands and techs and front of house guys and merch people, they would come and see us every day play. Like the people that were on the tour, more and more people started assembling rather than, as I said, like 16-year-olds with e-cigarettes. They kept walking. Totally fair. But the actual bands and crew and stuff started coming out reliably, and we've maintained those ties, and that's yielded dividends for our band in terms of networking and making friends in higher places, and you know, and just getting out there, right? So that aspect of it has been extremely successful for us.
And also on February 26th of 2016, you guys released your amazing debut studio album titled Higher Power. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about this amazing record. And of course, is it actually still available to be streamed or purchased today in 2023?
It is indeed available on all platforms, I believe. Also vinyl sounds really nice. Yeah, so we made that album was a fucking nightmare to make, to be honest with you. I mean, it was fun in parts, but we didn't know what we were doing, and so we did these sessions with our friends in Toronto that to kind of started off, and we were trying to do it really economically because we weren't signed or anything. And so we did it at our friend's studio in Toronto. And we just weren't prepared for recording as well as we thought we were, I would say. And we were really good and really fast live, but like there was a lot of aspects of our sound that we hadn't really like held up to the cold light of day. And so it was tough to record it. But anyways, we barreled through all of that, and that was fun. But we finished it, and then like we had to sit on it for a long time and go through different mixers and all this stuff. It just like when a record takes forever to make, it's not fun. Like momentum is everything when it comes to making a record, in my opinion. And so this one just took a long time, but for a long time I didn't want to hear it because it just brought up all of this long like of the you know, pretty annoying and negative, long-standing time it took to make this record. But now when I hear it, it charms the hell out of me. I remember the good times, and it's nasty as hell, that's for sure.
And also as well, the following year in 2017, you guys actually won a Juno Award for Breakthrough Group of the Year. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that night at the Juno Awards. And of course, what was it like actually just being up there and accepting this prestigious Canadian award?
Well, that was a great time. That was one of the funnest weekends of our band. I mean, like, yeah, we got nominated for it. To be honest with you, it was mostly due down to this one guy named John Box, who worked for Universal, who, even though we weren't signed to Universal, was such a big and like just sincere music fan. he told everyone at Universal to vote for us, and that's how the Junos work. And so he was so passionate about our band that he basically was just like, vote for the NIL. And people did, and we won. And it was a crazy thing because, I mean, the thing that showed to me how crazy it is for us is like when they're playing all the nominees' names on the screen, it's like, and then just like, like some kind of country shit. And then it's like, and then that was our shit coming on. And I was just like, it's insane that we're in with these super slick sounding people, because we are not that. Like they played something off of Higher Power, and it just, the feedback in this banquet hall when it came over the PA, like everybody in their nice, like super nice clothes, like kind of ducked for a second when it came on. It was a good feeling. That's when I really felt like this is a beautiful thing. Anyways, yeah, it was a great night. I met Kiefer Sutherland. He gave me super drunk advice. He was clinging to glasses of scotch off each other, and he told me why I should never fall in love with women from Eastern Europe. Delivering a really long sermon about that. But I had done this move at the camera. I went like this, like, or wait, yeah, that's what I did. Like when the camera panned to us when we won, I was just like this, and he made me teach him how to do that. Like he sat me down. You go, and that's my dominant memory of the Junos, is teaching Kiefer Sutherland how to flip off a television camera.
And the one thing I have to ask, because obviously you're at the awards. Did you guys have any idea that you were going to win this award, or was it completely spontaneous?
No, like they don't tell you or anything, and like we didn't have any voice on the inside. Our like the people we were with were like, you're gonna win, but I just, yeah, it was an electric feeling. It was like, and I mean, I would love to. I'm no cap on God, as the children would say. I would like to win another one because it's a great feeling. But like, do I really actually care? No, I have a cynicism that protects my heart when it comes to that shit.
Hey, but at the end of the day, nobody can take that away from you, man, because the Dirty Nil is a Juno Award-winning group. And even 20 years from now, still going to be a Juno Award-winning group.
We won one, dude, and my mom immediately confiscated it as soon as I got it.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she ever give it back to you, or does she still have it?
No, she still has it. I think like it means more to her than it does to me. And I think like I don't want to win a Juno to have a Juno. I want to win a Juno to be like at a banquet hall, like, you know, drinking wine and being like, yes, like that. Just like going to like, it's like how I don't like to watch hockey, but I'll go to a hockey game, like for sure. Yeah. In person. Let's do it. But yeah, I think she deserved it more than I did, to be honest with you. So it's cool that she has it.
Hey, but at least she's keeping it safe for you, though. You know what I mean? At least it's there. Maybe she's polishing it right now as we speak. Who knows?
She may have hawked it. I don't know. I don't think she has. Fair play if she did.
But also as well, on January 1st of 2021, you guys actually released the amazing 11-track album titled Fuck Art. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this album. And of course, is there actually any hard copies or vinyls available to be purchased today?
Well, there's certainly there's hard copy available. There's even we do a custom album cover version where the album cover is a dog, a golden retriever against a blue sky experiencing bliss. And you can transpose your own pet onto that blue sky in the style of our album. And basically we split the proceeds with an animal shelter around here. But that's a custom option that we kind of do it like once every 2 years because it's so labor intensive for the actual graphics people to do it. But we'll do another one of those soon. So anyways, that's Fuck Art. But what can I tell you about this album? Well, it's funny because we started making it in, I think it was March of 2020. And we flew in our producer from Seattle, Mr. John Goodmanson, the brilliant John Goodmanson. And we did pre-production, and then we recorded the drums and the bass, and then the border was closing, and so he had to go back to Seattle, and the whole world was ending because it was right in that like the moment it was all happening. We had just finished the rhythm section, and then so me and the engineer were the last two people. We stayed in the studio for 2 days and finished the guitars, and that was a hell of an experience recording 12 songs on guitar in 2 days. Like each song takes like probably a couple hours to find the sounds, and so it was a long time, but that was really fun. And then basically we had to finish the vocals with our friend in a shed and send them out to our producer. And so it was when I think of COVID, I think of fuck art. Basically, it was my and I don't know how I would have. I'm so grateful that I got to do that during the first bit of fuck art, sorry, the pandemic, because it obviously kept my mind really focused on like a task at hand and making it as good as we can, and solving problems, and like, I didn't get to sit around and think about the fucking void like everybody else did. So,
and I have to say, this is definitely an amazing album, but I could only imagine having to, put something together like this, try your absolute hardest to get everybody together during a pandemic, man. Like that whole COVID-19 situation was definitely just yeah, I mean, like there's a million things I could say, but I got to be professional. So we'll just say it was a very, very difficult time.
It was a very difficult time, very strange time, but I just feel very fortunate that we've emerged the others. I mean, it's not over. It's never gonna be over. I guess it's just part of the world now. But like, we've moved to a different stage. I'm sure we can all agree on the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I feel better. I feel very fortunate to be in the condition that we are in on the other side of it.
And also as well, this summer I actually saw on your guys' Instagram that you're going to be hitting the road and going on an entire North American tour, Canada and the US, alongside Outfit. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners, what can we actually expect from the Dirty Nils portion of this tour? And of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some tickets if they are indeed on sale right now as we speak?
Well, you can expect, I'd say, and I detest false modesty, but I would say this. I do think that this tour is, I don't know, it's one of the best offerings of rock and roll that I think our country has in a package. I'm not trying to be cocky or anything. I really legit mean, I think it's like two sick bands at what they do that are different from each other, but I'm just really excited about it, really, is what I'm trying to say. I'm a huge Dan fan, Dan Romano fan, and Ian is incredible, his brother on the drums, and the band's incredible. Roddy on bass, and Carson and Juliana singing. Like they're really, really good. And so it's I don't know, it's the most excited about opening or like a tour that we've done with anybody in a long time. It's also one of the first co-headlining tour. Like we haven't done a co-headlining tour in like 7 or 8 years. So yeah.
And it's really cool as well, like how you actually mentioned how two different genres of music coming together for a tour. Honestly, man, like that right there is two different demographics of fans, man. So you also, the Dirty Nil, you guys can actually potentially get some new fans from another genre of music, and vice versa with the Outfit, man. I saw a crap load of dates, so I'm definitely going to try and snag myself a few tickets to actually come out to the nearest show near me.
Please do. I think it'll be a great tour. We've got a few tricks up our sleeve. I can't talk about them until we get there, but I will say that we've got a lot of things up our sleeve for this year. I'm very, very excited for this year. This is it's gonna be a good one for us. We're gonna have a good time.
Hey, like the old saying goes, good things come to those who wait. And I think I can speak for all the Dirty Nil fans that I'm pretty sure we can definitely wait to see what is to come when you actually are in the audience for this amazing tour.
We ain't mailing it in. We're bringing the fury. We're gonna make it happen.
And I have to ask as well, because obviously, we touched on, your amazing history. We touched on the Warped Tour, the Juno Awards, fuck art, and of course this tour. But what is next aside from the tour? What's next for yourself and the rest of the Dirty Nil? Is there anything we missed during this evening's interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? We still got you here live on 99.9 FM this evening.
We have a lot of new music that's very stanky and heavy coming soon. It's different than the last one. It's a bit more. I don't know. I don't want to say too much about it, but I'm extremely excited.
And if you don't want me asking, I don't mean to pry. Is it going to be just singles, or is it actually going to be another Dirty Nil album?
I think we're just gonna have to see.
I like that. I like that. You're making my palms sweaty over here, man. I like that. Good things come to those who wait, just like I said, man. I'm definitely excited, Luke.
Well, hell yeah.
But obviously, I know how to find you guys on social media. But for the individuals that might not know very much about social media or how to find you guys, before we part ways this evening, how can we actually follow not only yourself, Luke, from the Dirty Nil, but also all the Dirty Nil members in the group itself on social media?
Well, okay, so we got, I'd say our principal channel is, our Instagram. And then, we use Facebook a lot, obviously, too. And we tweet about funny things that we see. And we're very passive TikTok band. We're just too old. Those are the main channels, I would say. And then let's see. Sam is Sir Tomlinson, and Kyle is Kyle Starchild Fisher, and I'm Luke Newcomb 90. Those are our Instagram handles. Spam us with some good memes. We're always on the hunt.
I love that Duke Nukem inspired Instagram handle, man. That's totally gnarly.
Listen, greatest game of my childhood.
Have you actually? I know it's totally off topic, but have you actually played Duke Nukem Forever, the one they kind of remade for the Xbox 360 back in the day?
No,
absolutely so fun.
I did not. I should have.
I got to say, if you ever get an old console, definitely check that one out. It's a phenomenal game.
Oh, hell yeah. I should check that out.
But I got to say, first and foremost, Luke, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and just sliding into the 99.9 Punk World Radio FM airways, man. It was such an honor to speak with a member of the Dirty Nil this evening. Honestly, an absolute honor. Like I said, been a fan for a long time since your that EP that dropped in 08. So it was an honor to speak with you, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
Right on, Immortal. Well, thank you so much for having me. And honestly, I'm just really very happy that y'all dig what we do. So thank you so much for that. We love you guys, and hail rock and roll.
Hey, most definitely, Luke. If you keep making it, we here at 99.9 FM are going to keep spinning it. Thank you so much, Luke. Have yourself a phenomenal night.
You as well.